This is a second video, like a follow-up video to answer some questions that some of you guys had on the Keisler automation LFX swap for the RX-8. So I'm not going to go into too much detail here. I already mentioned a lot of the stuff in the first video, but it was harder to see some of the areas, and I didn't get under the car, so there were some things that some people wanted to see. But we've actually got the front end of the car cut up now, so it gives us a better look at some of these things. So while we got the front open here, let me just show you a few things that I've mentioned in the previous video. First, here's the custom mount. It consists of a billet aluminum area, that piece that's CNC'd, and then a 3D printed piece, and that holds your factory Mazda eccentric shaft sensor that sits in here. Then you've got your tone ring with a mount that is on there. As you can see, it's CNC billet aluminum as well. Sway bar mounts right here, and this is a custom sway bar for this kit. It's not the factory RX-8 sway bar. So these mounts drop it forward to give this spacing for the engine there. You've got the billet oil filter adapter. It's got two holes for your Mazda oil pressure sensor, as well as your Camaro oil pressure sensor or LFX oil pressure sensor. And then maybe you can see the motor mounts there. Those are made specifically to mount this engine to some custom mounts that are in the factory locations. You can also see the steering shaft extension. Your factory steering shaft goes in there, bolts down, and then goes into your rack and pinion. And because the rack and pinion is moved just a little bit farther away, it gives you that little bit extra space. You can also see the 3D printed lower radiator mounts. So these bolt down into the factory radiator mount locations and allow you to drop the radiator forward a little bit here to make way for the lower radiator hose and then your sway bar. Let's go ahead and get under the car, and I can show you some things under there. Alright, so the first thing, let me just show you, I don't know if this will be a good angle for you, but you can see the oil pan here, and it sits just about a centimeter lower than this front cross member and about even with the middle cross member there. But you can build a skid plate or something like that, which I'll be doing on the channel. We'll get to that, and that'll protect the oil pan. But as long as your car's not slammed, you shouldn't be hitting it on anything. Okay, so you can kind of see where the modifications to the oil pan are. They trim just a little bit off the front and then a little bit at an angle here, because normally it comes straight down, and then they just patch it. So the oil pan is basically still the same capacity. I mean, you still put the same amount of oil in it, and the drain plug is in the exact same spot and everything. There's a view of the motor mount from the bottom. And it also gives you a view. Let me see. Maybe this will be a better view over here. Get some light in here as well. So there's your exhaust downpipe, and there's plenty of room in there, at least in my opinion, if you wanted to put a catalytic converter in that spot. Your O2 sensor is right there, so you may need to move the O2 forward if you're going to do a catalytic converter, or you could come back here for a catalytic converter. It all depends on where you want to fit it, but this is how much pipe you get with the kit. And now on this side, it'd be a little bit tighter, but you know, I think right there you could definitely fit you know, a high flow compact catalytic converter, you know, or over here. But you know, you'll have to figure out if that's something that you need, you know, and take the measurements for it. But you know, you could definitely do it with a custom setup here, since you have to make the exhaust anyway. So the exhaust comes back to here, you know, basically to the back of the transmission. And now I can show you the transmission mount. So on this side you have heat shielding, because this is where the factory manifold comes down, and then your catalytic converter and everything is here. So you've got to cut this bit of the heat shielding out, and then on the other side there's no heat shielding that you have to cut, but there's a custom bracket here, and then the same thing on this side, and you just got to drill 3 holes through the floor, and then these brackets hug the frame rails, and then this aluminum cross member bolts between those. And this piece right here, actually, I don't know how much it weighs. It's less than a pound. It's unbelievably light and extremely strong. And then you've got polyurethane transmission mounts, and then a custom, of course, CNC billet aluminum piece to bolt the transmission to the polyurethane mounts. Now, after that, we've got our completely custom drive shaft shop our completely custom drive shaft shop aluminum CV drive shaft, and so those bolt right into place. There's a aluminum adapter here, and then the same thing in the back. All right, so let's move on to the rear differential. So it's hard to tell with the differential up in the car now, but there's a front billet mount. So the Camaro differential actually has 2 ears like this, where you have a bushing on each side. So in this kit, you're actually going to cut this entire ear off the Camaro differential. So you're going to remove this whole side, and then you put in the polyurethane bushing on here, and then this custom billet front mount for the differential is actually, it's a really cool piece. I'll have to check to see if I've got pictures of it. I will I'll post it right now on the screen, but basically you don't have to take any measurements. What they've done is put dowel pins on the mount, and when you mount the back of this differential up, it swings up forward, and the dowel pins line up exactly where this needs to go. And so you don't, like I said, have to take any measurements. You just push it right up. It shows you exactly where to drill the holes. You drill the holes, sandwich the billet pieces together, and then the front's bolted up, and then you throw the axles in. So the final piece is this custom differential mount slash diff cover, but it's of course CNC built aluminum, like I said, for pretty much everything in this kit. But what they've done is made this a part of the whole mounting system for the differential. So the top ears actually bolt into the factory RX-8 differential locations, and then they have in-house made polyurethane mounts for that. And then of course you've got billet cooling fins that are machined into the whole thing, so it should keep the differential nice and cool. I think that's pretty much it. Let me show you one other thing while we've got the front end open, just in case you are interested in having air conditioning on your LFX swap car. Okay, so now obviously I don't have it on this car because this is pretty much going to be on the track only, but for a few $100 more or a couple $100 more, they can give you the exact pricing, but I'm pretty sure they've developed an air conditioning kit for this swap. So if you want to keep your air conditioning, I don't know if it uses the Mazda AC compressor or the LFX one, but the I believe the Camaro factory air conditioning sits right here, so you would have it in this same exact spot. So their kit may include you know, everything for you to mount it here and adapt the lines to the Mazda lines or something. You'd have to contact them, but air conditioning is an option. This is exactly where it would fit. So you know, if you wanted to keep all the creature comforts of your RX-8, just have more power, more reliable power, you know, that's an option that you select in the kit, and you're good to go. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. If there are any more questions that you have about this kit or pieces of this kit, just let me know in the comments. But I think that's pretty much it. Like I said, they've made it a very comprehensive kit. There's nothing that you need, you know, other than the engine, transmission, differential, your clutch, flywheel, clutch slave cylinder, and that's pretty much it. They supply the ECU, the wiring harness, all the bolts and stuff. All these bolts, all these pieces, washers, everything are all included in the kit. So they make it really easy to just put everything in. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Take it